With your support, we are accelerating Seidenberg's mission of STEM diversity and inclusion in higher education and the workforce of the 2020s and beyond. To show our appreciation and demonstrate the power of your investment, we have a video tribute to show you how your partnership makes an impact.
Hi, I'm Mike Capone, CEO of Click. I am proud to be an SIA honoree because I believe in driving positive change in our world as part of the work that I and my team are doing at Click together. To be able to do this with my alma mater has special meaning for me, as I know the power of a PACE degree and the impact that PACE grads make in the field and in their communities. Just as I have benefited, I want to ensure that PACE students today have the support needed for them to be good global citizens and continue the work we are doing to positively change the world.
Hello, I'm Surikant, Chairman of Tata Consultancy Services North America and a proud 2015 SIA honoree. As the world rebounds from the impact of COVID-19, it is critical to empower students with 21st century skills so that they can create innovations that benefit society at large. I am extremely proud of TCS's long-standing investments in pioneering STEM education programs like Ignite My Future in School and Go IT. Through these programs, over 1 million K-12 students across America have now gained computational thinking and digital innovation skills. By leveraging the best of TCS, we're building pathways for women, youth, and underserved groups.
I am proud to be associated with Seidenberg School and being an SIA honoree. What impresses me most about the school is its people. The faculty, the administrators, and the students, all who work hard to make this world a better place. As a minority in the technology leadership space, I am very impressed with what the school has been able to accomplish. Being in the top 3% of private colleges in America for most diverse, and having a 29% representation of females in its student body. Very impressive, and way to go, Seidenberg. Thank you for everything that you do, and congratulations to all of the SIA recipients.
Hi, I am proud to be an SIA honoree for two reasons. I received my undergrad and graduate degrees from PACE, which equipped me very well for the skills needed to have a successful career on Wall Street. I also think it's really important to give back to our next level, our next generation of leaders. Most of you are sitting in that audience right now. And before I drop off, I just want to say congratulations to Sigal, well deserved. Have a good day.
With your support, I'm able to graduate this year with the degree of my dreams and pursue a career in the field of computer science.
Hi, I'm Srinikil Raja. With your support, I was able to stay at school and continue my graduation during the toughest days of my life in this pandemic. I would sincerely thank you for all the support that you have given me.
Your investment has enabled me to pursue computer science research on file system and focus on my studying without financial stress. Thank you.
Thank you. That is just amazing. We are so proud of Pace University, and we are so proud of the Seidenberg School and the innovations and the really important contributions towards diversity and equity and inclusion that your gifts allow us to make. We are incredibly excited to honor today one of the really amazing and motivational people in the technology industry, Sigal Zarmi. And Sigal, we have a little surprise for you to start our event today. So we've got another video. I think you're going to like it.
Hi, Sigal. My heartfelt congratulations to you on this incredible recognition, which you so well deserve. You are such an inspiring and incredible person. You're exactly what the world needs right now. And I want to wish you every success and happiness for your future. All the best from a warm friend.
Sigal, it's Greg Fell, welcoming you from Sue TV Studios. And I want to make a congratulations to you on your SIA award. We've been friends for quite some time, and you've been a luminary in this industry, and I'm really excited to have you get this award.
Sigal, congratulations on this remarkable achievement, so well deserved. Make sure you take the time to celebrate this success. I wish you all the best.
Hi, Sigal, congratulations. We are so happy for all of you. Kol hakavod. So proud of you and all of your accomplishments, which are too numerous to state, frankly. You have an amazing husband, you have an amazing family, and you are an absolute rock star, and everyone loves you. So congratulations again, and I hope you have all the happiness in the world.
Hi, Sigal. Shalom, Sigal. Congratulations on the award. Very well deserved. Happy for you.
Hey, Sigal, it's Bev, of course. Listen, I'm so proud of you and your achievements. I can just imagine 26 years ago when you and I first met, and I knew you had star quality as a director of applications development who I placed at Health First, and look at where you've gone, and you've never lost your humility, your friendliness, your genuineness, and you have been tremendously successful, and I'm just so thrilled for you. Take care.
I'm teared up, Jonathan. I did not expect that.
I'm teared up too, Sigal. I am teared up too. And number one, congratulations. And you clearly have impacted so many people. I can honestly tell you that we've never honored anyone who brought out, this many people with strong feelings, who were so delighted to see someone who they respect as a professional and who they love as a person. And that speaks volumes. And as a result, we are incredibly honored that you will be our honoree for innovation in digital transformation. Honoring you and your impact at Morgan Stanley holds special significance for us as you drive innovation at an iconic organization that not only sets the industry standard across the globe, but is also an organization with a history of partnership and community with PACE. To share some highlights, over 500 of our alumni work at Morgan Stanley. We've recognized several Morgan Stanley executives for their industry leadership and service at our annual Seidenberg Innovation Awards, including most recently double alumnus Hank Hyatt. Morgan Stanley clearly shares PACE's commitment and practice of diversity and inclusion towards its people and its communities. And today, it's a great privilege for us to continue and elevate this legacy of shared leadership at Morgan Stanley and at Pace by recognizing you, Sigal, as the 2021 honoree. You represent IT leadership and innovation as International CIO and Global Head of Transformation at Morgan Stanley. In your dual capacity, you, Sigal, are driving the firm's innovation agenda through emerging technologies, in unlocking technology-fueled sources of value across the business and modernizing the digital experience for millions of customers. As International CIO, you manage Morgan Stanley's diverse global technology footprint, leveraging the transformational capacity to optimize the organization, its functions, and platform to thrive in the continually evolving high-pressure world of fintech. You are a member of the Technology Operating Committee and the EMEA Operating Committee. You joined Morgan Stanley in 2018 from PwC, where you were recognized for leading a global network transformation as vice chairman and CIO. And before your time at PwC, you were the CIO of GE Capital Americas. And you spent 18 years in various technology and operations leadership positions. In addition to practicing transformative leadership at Morgan Stanley, you drive lasting positive change in the field and in the community. You're currently a senior advisor to multiple technology and cyber companies, startups, and VCs. Your passionate advocacy for women in technology, where you have acted as a mentor and a coach to aspiring entrepreneurs and technologists, among your many other community commitments. I think it's notable that you were inducted into CIO Magazine's Hall of Fame this year, 2021, for your contributions, and that is a truly impressive recognition. You hold an MBA from Columbia University and a BS in engineering from the Technion Israel Institute of Technology in Haifa. Your professional success and dedication to paying it forward is inspirational to us, and your ability to excel in all aspects of your lives deeply touches us. As a female pioneer and role model in the field, you are forging paths towards equity and inclusion for the future workforce. It is for these reasons and many others that you embody the spirit of this award. Sigal, on behalf of Pace University and the Seidenberg School of Computer Science and Information Systems and our communities, we are honored and pleased to present you the 2021 Award for Innovation in Digital Transformation. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Jonathan, and thank you for everyone who joined today. It is really a privilege and an honor to accept this award and be in the company of such great technology leaders. The Seidenberg School of Computer Science and Information Systems has been a great partner to Morgan Stanley, and I've worked with Pace over the last 2.5 years, not just on recruitment, but on other events. And I think that your commitment in the school for diversity and inclusion is really admirable, and it's very much what we need in STEM and in technology in general. So I'm very honored to receive that award, and thank you so much for the kind words.
Yeah, thank you so much, and we're really grateful that we have a chance to learn a little bit more about you. We've got a wonderful audience here. Many of your fans, many of your Society for Information Management colleagues have turned out today to support you and support this recognition. And we've got our students here who take so much inspiration from what you have done. And going back to Bev Lieberman's comment about her, one of the great headhunters in the tech industry, and she placed you in a position 26 years ago. And you're here today with us, assuming this just awesome leadership position at one of the great companies in the world. So we want to learn a little bit about that journey. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you grew up and how you became an engineering student at Technion, one of the great engineering schools in the world.
Yeah, I didn't set out to learn computer science. I had a passion for process improvement and trying to get rid of diversity. And when I opened the syllabus of the universities to figure out what I want to study, I actually signed up for industrial engineering, and I felt that that would be the right way to really improve processes. But while I was going through the industrial engineering degree, I came across computer science and information management, and I felt at the time that with technology, you can impact processes in a much bigger, grander way faster. And that's why I switched to information management engineering. And that has been a great decision. I've been telling teams over the last, 25 years that I've been managing teams, I've been telling them it's the best time to be in technology. And every time I'm surprised that I'm still saying it's the best time to be in technology. And I really believe it, because technology is evolving. There is always something new and change, and there's always something to learn, and always a new way of doing things. And I think over the last 15 years specifically, the way technologies change our life, both as an individual consumer and in the workplace, is just tremendous. Even the last year through the pandemic, we just see how much technologies impact what we do every day. So I still think that there is a lot of power in technology, and I'm really excited to be in that field because it's always evolving and changing and interesting.
Yeah. So you were going into the Technion. You were deciding what sort of engineering you wanted to do. First off, that's a really competitive school. It's not easy to get in there. How did it happen that you decided that's where you were going to spend your time? And I can imagine there were not a lot of other women in your engineering and mathematics courses. So take us through that journey a little bit as your time as an undergraduate at the Technion.
Yeah. So I signed up for multiple schools, not just to that school. And my parents actually didn't want me to go to the Technion because they wanted me to live at home and go to Tel Aviv University, which have been much easier. And I wouldn't have to pay room and board, and it will be also cheaper for them. So they didn't want me to go to the Technion, but I insisted and I promised that I will work part-time and cover some of the additional expenses. And I also volunteered to mentor high school kids. So that gave me a little bit of a stipend for school while I was going through the degree. And the reason I wanted to go to the Technion is because I felt that their program was much more interesting than the other programs. And when I did the tour, I really liked the campus. It felt much more like a real campus as opposed to a commuter campus. So I like that. And I think it was a good choice because it kind of taught me to be on my own. I remember every night I was standing in line for the telephone booth to call my parents the first semester, and I was crying how much I miss them. But at the end, I think it was a really good experience that I grew up a lot from it. I have to say that there weren't many women. And still I have friends that I went to school with that are women, but there aren't like tens of them. There are 3 of them. So there weren't many women. And the men in the classes were older because usually, you serve in the military in Israel before you go to school, right. And guys serve longer than women. So, they were older. I never felt discrimination at all, but maybe it's just because I kind of expected it and I knew I was taking it as a given.
Wow, very interesting. And tell us a little bit, you finished your degree. How is it that you came to the States? How did that whole process present itself to you?
Yeah, so I finished my degree and I got married. And I worked as a developer in Motorola. I also had an internship there while I was still going to school. And then I got a full-time job there and I was working as a developer. My husband actually did his high school in the US. His dad was an expat, so he lived in the US and did his high school here. And I met him in Israel. And after we got married, he always said, he knew that I wanted to do my MBA. And he said, why won't you, do your MBA in the US? It could be a nice adventure. And I was thinking, yeah, why not? A few years, it's great. I didn't speak English very well at all. So I can, study English, I can get my MBA, it will be a nice adventure. We can, travel. So why not? And that's been 33 years ago.
Yeah,
Plan was
seems like yesterday. So why did you decide to do an MBA instead of another engineering degree? Was it, and tell us a little bit about that experience. You go from a very rigorous engineering program, and of course, Columbia has an excellent business school. Not as good as Leuven, but still very, very good and competitive. How was that? How was that experience? Tell us about it.
I loved business school. I think for me, it was really an introduction into corporate America, which I didn't really was aware of. And when I think about it, even when I think about kids today, growing up in America, depends on what family you're coming from, where do you live, what are your experiences as you grow up. You don't have a window into corporate America. You really don't. You really don't know how corporation works and what do they care about and how they set up a strategy and how they think about where to invest and why, the whole finance aspect of a company and how that works, how they raise money, how they decide about budget and all of those things. I mean, it was all new to me. And I loved it. I felt that it's making me a much better rounded technologist because I understand the business. Because what do you do as a technology, right? You solve problems. That's basically what you do. You solve problems and you solve the business problems. And if you understand the business better, then you can be a better problem solver. So to me, the education was so important to really make me be a better technologist. And I was working as a developer when I came to the US. I was working at a company as a developer, and that's what I was doing. I was creating, developing solutions, and I wanted to understand the business, but the business degree helped me understand the business better.
So interesting. And we find, as educators here, that it's our responsibility to help our students not only get the technology, the STEM theory, but the technology skills, but also help them apply that into the business space. And there's only so much that you can do, right, in 4 years or a 2-year master's degree. So you've learned so much over your career. What advice would you give these students in terms of learning the language of business in addition to learning Java or Python or a programming language? How do they learn to navigate corporate America, the global business area?
I really strongly believe that the secret to success is continuous learning. Keep on learning, never stop learning. There's always something that you don't know. I remember in one classes that I took, I don't know if it was a GE leadership class or another class, somebody said, put it like a dot on the whiteboard and said, that's how much knowledge each person has versus all the knowledge in the world. And there is always something to learn. And if we are, as individuals, focus on continuous learning, on always asking questions, trying to understand where, even if in our personal relationship, where the other person is coming from and why, I think that's what makes you successful. Because, you know, people change jobs, they change careers, they change industries, and there's always something to learn. And when you are focused on learning and asking questions, you will be able to leverage and apply technology in a better way to solve problems.
Wow, that's great advice. And you love business school, so let's do a little case study if we can. The Seagal's Army case study. You've had this amazing career, and clearly you are the poster person for lifelong learning and developing, but you managed to climb the ladder. What are the things that you've learned, again, that you would share with these students about how you do that, how you navigate your way through and climb? You know, this is a really impressive roster of companies where you have been, and you've had success at all of them. How can we be successful as well?
Yeah, I have to say it wasn't, you know, planned, and it wasn't deliberate, um, and it always not, it wasn't always like an upward, right? I mean, career doesn't go, for me at least, didn't go like with a straight line. It sometimes went up and down and lateral, and I have taken, you know, lateral roles because of, you know, family constraints or life events that happen along the way. So I think what I would say is, don't think that every next job has to be a step up from the current job. Think about what are you going to learn from the next role. Don't take the role if you're not going to learn anything. But if you're going to work for someone that you can learn from, or if you can learn a new skill, or you learn a new business line, or it's a different industry, you know, try to think about always what are you going to learn from the next step. And if there is something you're going to learn, then it's worth considering even if it's a lateral move. And when I was at GE, I did 9 different roles in 18 years. And some of those roles were not a straight upward. Some of them were a lateral move, and some of them were smaller than the role before. But I was trying to learn from each one of those roles and expand my network and my relationships. So when the next opportunity became available, I was a stronger candidate than I was before.
Yeah, that's really impressive. And you were 18 years at GE Capital America, you know, one of the storied American corporations. And you were there, you know, in the real heyday when GE was in the press all the time. That's a lot of pressure. And how did you learn to deal with that responsibility?
Yeah, I was there when GE was growing fast. We were doing a lot of acquisitions. And that was really fascinating. Again, you know, I'm going back to the theme of learning and development, because there was always something new happening. And I love that. I mean, the businesses were growing, we were restructuring, there were new opportunities open up. One business that I was at got sold, and I stayed behind with GE. I didn't go with the sale. There was always something different, and I guess I thrive on that. I like those changes. I like how dynamic it was. I worked with so many different people, and some of them are here on the Zoom today. That is just have been great friends for a long time. And I think that's where, when things are stressful, that's where you need your friends, and you need your friends from inside the company and people that you can talk to, and you need your friends from outside the company, and those relationships that you build along the way are there forever. Are people to reach out to ask for support and help, and that that they're there for their opinion. So make sure that you have
Yeah.
a network, and it doesn't have to be just within the company. I never felt that I had a sponsor that kind of pulled me up with them. It would have been wonderful if I had one. But I never felt that I had a sponsor that pulled me up, but I had a lot of mentors that I still keep in touch with so many people that I know that I can always reach out and ask help for.
Yeah. As I say, I don't know that I've known, we've had a chance to meet a lot of senior executives here and very successful entrepreneurs. I can honestly say I've never met anyone who had the depth of relationships that you bring to the table. And yet in these 18 years at GE, you found a way to differentiate yourself, and people look to you as a leader. How did you differentiate yourself from the competition, if you will? And what do you think in hindsight made people view you as a leader?
I try to be true to the values that I hold as important. I know that I'm very direct and straightforward, and some people love it and some people not so much. and but I try to be really honest and clear. I think some of it comes from really the fact that when I moved to this country, I didn't speak English very well. So my way of dealing with it is trying to be clear and to the point, to communicate what I'm trying to say, and use the words in a very clear thinking kind of a way. But I think it resonates with people because they always kind of know where I am. And I'm true to myself in that regard, and I'm trying to be authentic and fair. So it's really important to me to give my team the empowerment to do their job and help them grow. So, people talk about servant leadership. That's really what I prescribe to, is how do you really make sure that your team feel that they are authorized and empowered to do their job. And my job is to help them be successful. And I think that went a long way with the team, and that was a differentiator, because at GE, there was a big focus on execution. So you couldn't just, fluff your way. You really had to deliver. And any organization has the things that are important to them, and having the understanding of what's important to the organization. How can you be successful in the organization? Is it about delivery? Is it about creating relationships? Is it about meeting the budget? Is it about hiring the right resources? Like, what is really important to be successful in the organization? And not all organizations are the same. Some put more value on some things versus the other. GE was a lot about execution. And there was a way to differentiate.
Wow. And you said a few minutes ago that this career wasn't planned. And I think that will come as a relief to some of our students who might get the impression that you walked out of the Technion with this map that said, I am going to have this very senior position at Morgan Stanley in a few years, and here are my stops along the way. How much how much does planning, account for that? Again, the recurring themes of lifelong learning, of developing your network and a support group of people to help you. And you had, as you say, you had many mentors, and you in turn have mentored many people and continue to do that. As you address these wonderful young people who are going to go out into the world, many of them in May, into the post-pandemic world, what advice would you give them in order to be true to themselves, but make themselves successful in these companies, big or small, where they will have their first jobs?
Yeah, what I would say is you can always differentiate yourself in a big or a smaller company. I turned down a job not going to a larger company. That was before GE. And because I felt that I don't want to be a small fish in a big pond. And I'd rather take a role in a smaller company so I can do many different things and have more exposure. And at the end, it didn't really work out the way I wanted. And then when I eventually did go to GE, I found out that in GE, I was, a small fish in a big pond, but I was able to differentiate yourself. So what I would say is that don't think that the size of the company is really the one that is impacting how much impact you can make as an individual, and can you really differentiate yourself. I think, the size of the company actually does not matter. Even if you go to a large company, you can still make an impact. And it has to do with understanding what's important. What are the business KPIs, and what is the business caring about, and how are you as an individual contributing to that? What I would say is that careers are long. They're long, and along the way, there's a lot of unexpected things that are happening. Nobody expected this pandemic, and nobody expected it to last that long, and nobody thought we would still be here in April of 2021 on Zoom, right? And things happen. What I would say to people is, don't stress out if things don't work the way you want. Rethink. Be patient. Be patient. And I just from experience, there were times that I wasn't, and I got that feedback that I need to be more patient and things will work out. And you know what? Looking back now, that was the right advice. So what I would say is, be patient. Have a long goal, and make sure that you calibrate every once in a while. But if things don't work in the moment, that's okay.
Yeah, patience can be a hard thing to come by, but we've all had over the last year to learn to be patient. What are you seeing as the outcomes of this time of pandemic? We are all hopeful that we're going to.
Is it me, or we lost Jonathan?
We lost Jonathan.
Yeah.
All right, he's back.
Jonathan, lost you. Can you repeat what you just said?
Yes, I'm sorry if you can hear me. My my internet connection has gotten very funky.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Sorry. My internet got very, very laggy all of a sudden. My question was, coming out of this pandemic now, what do you see emerging in this new business world? I mean, is it going to be a new business world? Is it going to be a return to business as usual? what are you counseling your stakeholders at the bank?
It's an interesting question, right? Because I think we saw companies saying we are going all remote, and some of them are now retracting back and saying, no, we're going to bring people back into the office. When I talk to my family in Israel, it seems like it's all back to normal, like because the country is vaccinated and they're all dying to be back. And I think it will depend on the company, and some flexibility will definitely be there. Much more flexibility will be there. I think we have proven that we can work very effectively remotely, and some companies have been doing that for a while, even before the pandemic. PwC, for example, most of the workforce was mobile anyway, either working from home or working at client sites and coming into the office just for collaboration and for teaming events. So some companies have been already moving in that direction. And it will depend on the role and the skill sets and the individual preference. I know that we have a lot of young people that rather come to the office because that's their way of socializing, of building their network, of building their relationship, which is very hard to do through video conferencing because it's much more targeted, right? The whole small talk, the whole way running into a person, knowing what's going on, or even just asking some personal, questions of people. And as a leader, to me, it's important to be able to have those informal conversations. The lady that was cleaning the facilities, or the guy that was at reception. I mean, I don't talk to the guy at reception. I have to remind myself to send him an email every month and say, how are you doing? And how are the kids? And, your daughter was supposed to graduate. How is she doing? And if I didn't remind myself, I don't come across that person in my day-to-day work. But I did run into him because I was coming up the elevator and going through reception. And I think that kind of interactions are missed, and they're important. They're important for the culture of the organization. They're important for the shared vision and shared goal of an organization. And I think we will find a way of introducing flexibility, but at the same time continuing to create those personal relationships. How exactly it's going to turn out, I think depends on the company, and some of them will figure out a way faster than others. I don't think
some will adapt and some will not adapt as well. I have to ask you this question, and before I go on, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm sorry, Jonathan. I do want to add one thing before you ask the question, because I do think that talking about diversity, for diverse talent, I do think the personal connections and being in the office is important, especially for women with children that might say, oh, I would love that flexibility to be home every day when the kids are getting off school, so I can take the hour or two to help them with homework and feed them and all of that, and I will work later on. And that's great, but I would hate to see all the women working remotely, because I think that will impact their career track, their connections, the relationship and the network that they're building, and their opportunity for promotion. Because there is so much about the comfort level with the person that you're working with that comes into a promotion discussion, that I think women have to be careful about, not just kind of checking out of the in-person activities.
That is a really powerful observation. And you have had this storied career as a woman executive, and it's 2021, but it's clear that we've not made nearly the advances in terms of gender and race equality that we should be making as a society and as a global industry. And I think that advice you shared to the women in our audience is very powerful. what else might you add for those diverse candidates in terms of preparing themselves to be successful and to deal with the reality that sometimes they are going to have um, to be challenged just because of who they are in the workplace?
I think go into it with eyes open.
Mm.
Right? It will happen. It's all about how you react to it and how do you really contribute to change perceptions, to change the stigma in the organization. You cannot wave a wand, and even after the last year, and all of the prejudice and the biases will go away. Unfortunately, it's not that easy. I mean, we're seeing that even the last month, right, with Asian American. I mean, it's really sad. Um, and I think the more we are conscious that that's the society we live in, I think we are better off at dealing with it. And most organizations have affinity networks that you can participate in, and I would encourage everybody at every level to participate in. It's, by the way, a great way of creating relationship and building a network in the organization as well. It's a great way of giving back to the organization, and it's a great way to influence how the organization think about diverse talent. So there's only good stuff that can happen by participating in affinity network. And I would ask the young talent, ask the organizations you are going to work at, ask them, do you have affinity groups? How do you feel about volunteering events and giving back in the community? That is important because that shows about how much the organization is committed to diversity and inclusion. And I think a lot of organizations are really genuinely committed to that. They're still trying to find their way about what does it mean every day, but I know Morgan Stanley has done a huge, huge amount of work. We have created the Institute for Diversity and Inclusion, in addition to millions of dollars of contributions to multiple organizations. And we are very focused on hiring diverse talent and promoting diverse talent and retaining diverse talent. So that is a huge focus for us. We are talking about diversity and inclusion very frequently with very specific initiatives, and our affinity networks are very successful as well. And I think it's important. The first thing that I came to Morgan Stanley was asking about the women's network. And I was so happy that they have a women in technology network. And it's great. And I love it.
Yeah, no, that's great. And, again, you've done so much to bring that conversation about diversity, women and other groups that need and deserve a fair shake and a better set of opportunities in industry. And to our guests this afternoon, I just have another brief question or two, and then we get to the fun part where you get to ask the questions. A bunch of them are coming into the chat. We always prefer to leverage Zoom to its fullest and have you with your camera on and able to meet Sigal and ask your questions. So I and other folks in the group will be asking those questions while we have a chance for you to really get to know her and ask her some tough, interesting questions. So Sigal, I have to use the I word, innovation. Tell us, you're at this iconic company, that you're at Morgan Stanley, and you're not only responsible for innovation, you're responsible for transformation. How do you get out of bed every day and say, okay, it's time to go and innovate? It's time to go and transform the way we do business. Talk to us a little bit about that mindset and how it impacts your day-to-day work, your day-to-day management.
So we've created a very structured approach to both transformation and innovation. And the innovation piece is part of the transformation world, but we created a very organized approach to that. On the innovation side, we run innovation challenges, we run hackathons, we run a sandbox and an innovation lab where we bring in new technologies and we engage people from technology and business across all the spectrum of our business to try and test new technologies. We run innovation challenges with awards, and we're doing very different things. We also have partners that we're working with that are helping us in different innovation events. So we have been very organized around innovation, specifically with a goal of making not just technologies, but also people in the business step back from the day-to-day and think about how technology can help them do their job better, or what is up in the horizon that we want to bring into Morgan Stanley. So cryptocurrency, digital money, quantum computing, a few years ago was blockchain, of course, cloud was a few years ago. So all of those technologies, right? Are they real? How can we apply them? So we try to bring that through the innovation lab in our innovation program. And we've been really successful in that. Transformation is a little bit broader, and that's more around how do we change the way we work, the way we interact with our clients and customers, and increase the value of technology to the organization. So we created multiple programs, or we call them our Center of Excellence, that are focused on different themes that we want to drive through. So one of them, for example, is our Cloud Center of Excellence that created the whole strategy and the tools and our approach to what do we move to cloud and how would we move to cloud and all of that, public cloud, that is. Another one is AI/ML. A lot of talk around machine learning. So how do we use that? We have a lot of data, right? Financial services, ton of data, and we have statisticians and really smart data scientists that are using statistical tools every day to price equities and fixed income and even on the wealth management side to help our financial advisors with the right data and insights. But the AI/ML series is looking a little bit around research and applied research and how do we take more advanced statistical tools and machine learning and incorporate them into what we do. We have another Center of Excellence that is around automation. So there is a lot of talk around RPA and automation. So what processes do we automate? What are the use cases? How do we make sure that they make sense? What is the strategy around automation? How do we measure the ROI? So we created, and there are a few other Center of Excellence. So we created those Center of Excellence around themes, and that's how they drive day-to-day, how we're trying to transform. So the idea is really to transform the way we work across technology and how technology interacts with the business and our clients.
Wow, that is a huge number of projects, and I can hear in your voice how excited you are about them. And
but I have to say, it's not my, I have to say, I give my team a ton of credit and I have a wonderful team, but they're not doing it on their own, right? They have to work with everyone across the technology and business organization because you don't do anything like that on your own. I'm not transforming within my own team. I'm transforming across the organization. So I give a ton of credit to all of my technology partners and my business partners of being open to change and really working with us to embrace new ways.
That's amazing. Well, you bring a great executive into a great company and amazing things can happen. And I'm so grateful to you for sharing some of these great things with us today. And Sigal, I could talk to you all day and keep taking notes and learn so very much. but I do want these brilliant folks who come out to hear you tonight to have a chance to ask some questions. And we will start with Heather Schneider. She asked first. Heather is a PACE alumna and a Seidenberg advisory board member and a partner at Wilkie Farr and Gallagher, the storied law firm, and which is this year's SIA Friend sponsor. And Heather, ask away. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Jonathan. And thank you, Sigal, so much for being here today. We really appreciate it. I actually want to ask a question about innovation that flows a little bit from what Jonathan was just asking. It feels like even in the midst of a pandemic, there's still a lot of innovation going on in banking and fintech. We're all setting up SPACs and people are buying, trading in NFTs and things that didn't even, really exist a year ago. How do you think innovation has been going during the pandemic, and how do you evaluate what innovations might stick or what might just be a flash in the pan?
So 2 questions there, right? I would say last March and April, I did not think a lot of innovation happened. Everybody was so heads down. The market was crazy. We had record volume trading days. And all of us really just focus on how do we move people to work from home and what do we need to do to enable that? And how do we make sure we support our client with all these crazy volume days? How do we execute trades and settle them and all of that? So, nobody had time to think about, innovation. And I think it took maybe I would say March, April, May, right? I mean, that was really heads down, let's make sure we support the business. And I think after that, we kind of got from under it, things stabilized a little bit, and we realized this is going to take a while. Because we saw it coming, we are a global business. We saw it rolling through Asia, through Europe, into the US. And Asia was still dealing with COVID, in May, June timeframe. So we knew this is going to take a while. And that's where we were transitioning back to business and normal and trying to think and really actively think about how do we take advantage and what does that mean? And how we're going to innovate within this environment. And I would say we did not really change much of our plans. We just accelerated them. But when you say, how do we know what innovation will stick and not? I think a lot of things stick. They might not stick the same way. They might be different and evolving. So distributed ledger technology or, blockchain, right? There was a lot of hype about that. And then people said, no, it's not going to work. And then Bitcoin was, from a cryptocurrency, was going through highs and lows. And now all of a sudden, right, the last few months, it's coming back and it's taking hold more. So things are evolving. It reminds me the early day of the internet. After the .com, a lot of people kind of wrote off the internet. After the .com crash, and look where we are today, right? So things do, I think you have these cycles and things do come back. They might not come back the same way. I think about innovation, even if it fails, if we learn something from it, we are better off. So I'm going back to really the continuous learning. Even if something fails, if we try the technology, a company that has something new and we really don't think it's secure enough for us, but maybe we've learned something from that, then we are better off. Because when something else comes along, we will have a point of reference, we will have something to build on.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, terrific question, Heather. Thank you, and wonderful answer, of course, Sigal. I'd like to next recognize Colleen Tierney. Colleen is with PwC, this year's SIA Visionary sponsor. And Colleen, you have the floor.
Hi, Sigal. Thank you for everything you do. I have to say that I've had a front row seat watching your outsized impact at both PwC and Morgan Stanley. My question is your leadership style. I mean, those two companies, and I'm sure GE as well, right, have very different style, very different cultures. How has your leadership style had to change to be successful in such very different organizations?
Oh, Colleen, trust that you will ask the tough question. So Colleen is with PwC, but she's also the lead PwC person for Morgan Stanley. So she knows Morgan Stanley very, very well. And of course, she knows PwC well, which are very different cultures. I would have to say both companies focus on people a lot. Both companies focus on diversity and inclusion a lot, which is really a common thing that is very important to me. And so did, GE was focusing a lot on people and diversity, and that was very important to me. So that's really good thing. I think PwC, just because it's a partnership, is different than Morgan Stanley, which is a corporation. So the structure of the companies makes the culture a little bit different, and I think it comes back to really trying to create a relationship within the organization and learn what works and look who are the people that are successful in the company and why are they successful. So, even when you say look for a role model, it doesn't have to be someone you know to be a role model. It can still be somebody that can be a few levels higher than you, and you say, I want to be someone like that tomorrow. But if you know the journey that they have went through, even if you don't know them personally, and you understand what decisions they've made along the way to get to where they are, and why did they take that next job? Why did they move from New York to Tokyo for an assignment, and how has that helped them? I think that kind of a role model that you understand their journey is helpful. And it was helpful for me because I look at those successful people and I say, okay, what did they do to make them successful? And what do I need to do to be successful in this environment? But not
That's super helpful, right?
But not easy, right? Not easy.
Right. Thanks, Sigal. That's a great answer.
Colleen, thank you for that fabulous question. And I want to turn it over to one of our stellar students, Iris Nagayan.
We're really lucky to have you with us here today. And first, as an international student from Vietnam and the first woman in my family to have a college degree, I'm really inspired and grateful for your community commitments and the work that you've done to empower women everywhere. So thank you for leading by example. About my question, cloud computing platforms like AWS or Azure promote equity by making software development financially affordable for students or for the disenfranchised to take up the power of tech to learn and to create. So what do you think is the next innovation that can remove even more barriers to democratize access to technology so that women in developing countries like my sister can benefit from and contribute to moving the future of tech?
Yeah, a great question, Iris, and thank you for asking. I think, the cloud computing has opened the door for a lot of innovation, and we've seen that a lot of new companies, a lot of new offering, and some of them are the go-to market is that the time to go to market is much shorter, right, than it used to be before, because you as a company, you don't need a huge data center and infrastructure and capital investment. You can really quickly come up with a solution to an idea that you have and really leverage that. I would say that opening the door to diverse talents to leverage those tools will depend, unfortunately, on some of the political situation in some of those countries, and will there be access to those tools in those countries. And I actually think that it will, because I'm a positive person, and I love to always think that things will work out and be positive about the future. But in some places it will take faster than others.
Thank you. That's really good.
Some places there will be like you see in China, right? So maybe they're not going to use AWS or Azure or GCP, but you have Tencent and AliCloud and some of the other clouds. So I think even in those places where you might not have access to some of the American companies, you will have access to other solutions that are more local, and you will still be able to innovate. I think you see a ton of innovation coming out of China.
Thank you so much for your answer.
Thanks for a great question, Iris. And Simone Gonzalez, you are next.
Thank you, Dean Hill. I just want to say thank you for being here, and I want to congratulate you, of course. And I want to ask, how has your education prepared you for your career?
If you're talking about my technology education in undergrad, I would say did not prepare me at all. So when I was, I think, but I think that's the right thing, because what education to me is the foundation. And it's something that you have to go through. There's so many building blocks. And in 4 years, there is just no way you can learn everything. There's just no way. There is, like I said before, life is continuous learning. There is so much we can always learn and develop. And it's on the technical skills and the leadership skills and the business skills. So I would not expect education to prepare me. And I think that's why a lot of companies have training programs, and they put you through a training program that over a 2-year period really teach you what you need to know and how things work specifically for that company. When I started working as a developer in Motorola while I was still going to school, I remember the first day, I was asking, I came in and I said, okay, so what do I need to do? And the manager that was assigned to me said, forget everything you learned in school, because this is real life. It's different. You have to learn on the job, my opinion, especially when you're coding. Like, people come into Morgan Stanley and they're developing in C and C++. And by the way, the person who invented C++ is a Morgan Stanley employee and a brilliant guy. And we are lucky to have him. But the way we are developing is different, right? Because our infrastructure is set in a certain way, and our processes are set in a certain way, and our software development lifecycle and change management and all of our controls and tools are different, and the way we have put them together is different than any other company. So even when you switch, you're learning how to work in a different environment. So I think the role of the university is really the foundational elements. And that's the way it should be. It's really to broaden your mind and teach you how to solve a problem.
Terrific answer.
Do you agree, Jonathan? Do you agree? It's more about.
I do. I do agree. I do think that we work really hard to make sure they've got the foundation after 4 years. And in the undergraduate world, we build the cupcake, and then when they come to get their master's degree, we put the frosting on and the sprinkles and the decorations. And we like to think that if they really apply themselves, they can get out there and be the next Seagal's Army and the next Urs Foley and go out and conquer the world. And based on Simone's fabulous question, I think Ronald Kronig has a wonderful follow-up.
Hello. Hi. I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you for coming here and for being with us. It's great to learn. I love learning from amazing people like you. So my question is, given the increased potential of AI, the rise of more advanced programming languages, different tools, and also the rise of low-code environments, how the related programming jobs that work in companies such as yours be affected by those rises? Will there be a shift towards people actually working with code and instead just analyzing it?
Instead of just what?
So instead of actually building the code, they would simply be resigned to analyzing it and making sure that everything works properly.
I think it depends on the company and what you're trying to do. I don't think that will happen in Morgan Stanley. Not in the short term or foreseeable future. The code that we have great set of engineers, and the code that we are developing is actually tailored towards our equity trading, fixed income trading, our wealth managers. And I think that's something that you cannot just pick and choose from a menu and put together, that can work at the scale and complexity that we are trying to solve our business for. When you think about the complexity of what we do, especially on the institutional investing, I don't think that will happen. Now, we have used SaaS vendors, for example, for things that are not a differentiator for us. For things where we can use a vendor, we do. So for example, we would use a vendor to do our financials, right? To close the books and do our financials. We would use a vendor for HR system because this is something that we can use a standard package for. So there are going to be, you have to be smart about how you go about doing it and where you create your own code and where you use the low-code, no-code tools, or where you use machine learning. Also machine learning, it's not everywhere, right? You need to be really thoughtful on where you're using that. So I think it's wonderful that there are so many opportunities, but that's where it comes to problem solving and really using the right solution for the right problem.
Great question. Go ahead, Ron.
Oh, no, that was it. I was just going to thank you so much for the amazing answer.
Yeah, no, really, really impressive. And the Jackie Lee Martinez, good afternoon.
Hi, thank you, Dean Hill. Good afternoon. So first, I'd like to congratulate you, Sigal, for all your accomplishments and for being an honoree, as well as thank you for your time in speaking with all of us today. And my question is, how does Morgan Stanley foster an open and communicative environment for its diverse employees? And are there any diversity initiatives in place?
Oh, thank you for the question. And I can talk for a very long time about that. I talked about the affinity groups, and we've been having so many opportunities to have open door communication and sessions around diversity and inclusion. For example, we have an event this week about how men can be allies to women. So just one example of one event. We've had an event last week with one of our board members for the Institute of Diversity and Inclusion that was talking as an Asian American. How does he feel about what happened over the last a few weeks to the Asian community. We have events that are really in smaller group, trying to foster open conversations. We had just over the last 6 months anti-racism training that was more of a workshop as opposed to just a training session. We have instituted diverse mentoring. So I have a wonderful Black employee that I didn't know from before, but he's my mentor to help me as a leader think about diversity and better understand some of the challenges that he's going through as a diverse employee. And some of my employees are mentors to others as well. And that program has been so successful that we are going to roll it out across the board to all of our technology managing directors. So, and that's just, really the tip of the icebergs of some of the events that we are doing only in technology. There are others that are being done across the firm. So lots of opportunities. It's one of our values. It's something that our CEO is talking about and is very important to him and to the operating committee. And, it's come from the top, but also from, the people in the organization.
Those sound like amazing events and programs. So thank you for your answer.
Thank you. And I will say that there is so much that can be done, even in organizations that don't have the breadth and depth of Morgan Stanley. There is still work that can be done around diversity and inclusion. And just have the courage to speak up and point out the opportunities.
Yes, I agree. Thank you.
Great question, Jackie, and thank you so much. And Seamus Wood, you have a fabulous question. I think it's a great follow-up if you're available to ask.
Yep, thank you. Thank you for being here and for answering our questions and talking to us. My question was, you joined Morgan Stanley in 2018 as the head of transformation. What prompted Morgan Stanley to create this role, considering all of the leadership roles already existing in the firm, and what excited you about accepting this role?
I really got excited about the values of the company. I really got excited about the vision for transformation and the work that needed to be done. It was mainly focused on technology transformation. I think during the interview process, learning about not just the values as they were listed on the wall, but how people behave and embed the values, even during the interviews, was such a clear realization that the company is serious about. And that was really what attracted me to the company. The people are really super nice and collaborative and really put the firm and the best for the firm before they put themselves. And I think that was important to me. I identify with that. So, it was a great opportunity and I'm glad I did it.
Great. Fabulous question, Seamus. Thank you. And yet another really good follow-up from Austin Harsage. Austin, if you're available.
Yep. Hi, Sigal. Thank you again. And again, congratulations on the recognition that you so well deserve. My question, just a bit about me. I'm a member of the Setters Leadership Program here at PACE. And as a result, we talk a lot about leadership and specifically servant leadership. And that was something that you mentioned when you were talking before that stuck out to me. So in your experience, what are some of the most important qualities that a servant leader should have?
First and foremost, you got to know that you don't have all the answers. The fact that you're the leader doesn't mean that you have to have all the answers. So I would say that's first and foremost, and really be open to a good debate, to a good collaborative discussion, to opinions from diverse set of people. That's what I love about diversity. I think diversity really drives creativity because different people think differently and they come from different backgrounds and they come with different experiences. And that's what makes for creative solutions to be even stronger, better solutions. So I would say that's if you want one thing that differentiate, you don't have all the answers as a leader.
I'll keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
Great question, Austin. And we have time for one more, and that's going to go to an international student. He's international because he's from Texas, the fabulous Josh Lozano.
Hi, Sigal. Thank you for joining us this afternoon and congratulations on your award. So I was just wondering, because you've talked to us a lot about your journey and how you got here, but I was just curious as if there was one thing that you can go back and that you could change your journey, what would it be and why?
The one thing I would change is be more patient. You know, we talked a little bit about that. And I mentioned there was feedback I've gotten, and I think, you know, looking back, it was the right feedback. I would say be more patient. Like I said, you know, career is a long career, and there are ups and downs, and there are things that you really want to do when you're young, and don't rush it. You know, have some goals and calibrate along the lines. I'm really happy that I found a career in technology. I'm very passionate about technology. I love technology and what it can do. And I'm not really sorry for a second that I stuck with it because it's been so interesting and always something different to learn and know and use as a toolkit to really help the business be successful and thrive. But, you know, be a little patient, I would say, is one thing I will tell my younger self. Things work out. At the end, things work out.
Thank you so much.
Sigal, again, we could talk to you forever. What a fascinating and inspirational conversation. And as always, these programs are a huge endeavor. We could not pull them off without the support of our wonderful development team, Gary Larmer and all of his folks, and the Seidenberg team, including the wonderful Katie Todd, Melanie Madera, and Jill Olimpieri, and our ever-talented director of development, whose brainchild this series is, Det Sao. Det, would you just say hello for a moment?
Thank you, Jonathan. And again, on behalf of these we cannot thank you enough for the generosity of your partners, the impact of your leadership, and all the insights you've shared with us today. As you can see from our students, having someone like you in the room, you know, having them be able to share their perspective and get your insights is something that is really meaningful and adds to your advice of continuous learning and self-improvement. So we can't thank you enough. We are also tremendously delighted and honored that you are the first honoree of our first installment of the 2021 Seidenberg Innovation Series Awards. You've started us off on a really amazing foot, and we have two more amazing honorees who will be featured as well this spring. So please join us for the celebration of Eileen Mahoney, who is the Global CIO for PVH on April 20th, and Josh Silverman, who is the CEO of Etsy on May 13th. Thank you so much again for joining us, and to the sponsors, you know, for your partnership and support as well.
And thank you, Det, and congratulations on such a wonderful event. And we do want to take a moment to thank our title sponsor, Josh Silverman, Chief Executive Officer of Etsy, our visionary sponsors, Morgan Stanley, the PVH Foundation, and PwC. Thank you, Colleen. Our supporter sponsors, including Accenture, High Point, New York Presbyterian, and Qualitest. And our friend sponsors, Seventh Online, Blue Yonder, Genpact, HKA, Infosys, Verizon, and Wilkie, Farr, and Gallagher. Thank you so much, Heather. And to our wonderful Seidenberg and Pace University community, thank you so much. To our dear faculty who are here, and to our wonderful students and those great questions. Thank you. Sigal, congratulations. And
Thank you. I'm so honored and privileged to get this award, and thank you all for joining and for the wonderful questions. You really touched me. Thank you.
Congratulations, Sigal.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you all soon. Have a beautiful evening and a great rest of your week. Cheers.